Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Andy. I'm a self-taught programmer, and in this video, I'm going to answer the question, do you need to know data structures and algorithms to get your first job as a self-taught programmer? And since I've been putting videos out on this channel, no matter what the topic is, if I'm talking about productivity or something like that, somebody's always asking about data structures and algorithms. That could be completely off topic, and they're still going to ask about it. And they want to know how important is it? What are the best resources? So I'll give you my perspective of where I've seen it come up in my career and where I'm seeing it come up as far as for people who I coach and mentor. How important is it for them to learn data structures and algorithms? Where does it play a role? Now, keep in mind, this is just one man's advice, my perspective. You should definitely take in multiple perspectives on this. Now, if you're new here and you're wondering who I am, I'm Andy Sterkowitz, and I'm a mentor and coach to people who are looking to teach themselves software development. So people who are looking to get a strong skill set as well as learn strategies to really land that first job. So if you're interested in content like that, I highly recommend subscribing below. Make sure also to hit the bell icon to get notifications anytime I put out a new video. Now, with that in mind, so let's answer the question. Do you need to have a really strong foundation in data structures and algorithms in order to land your first job when you're teaching yourself? The answer is no. There's plenty of evidence out there from people who are posting online, free codecamp forums, even from people who I've helped land their first job, that sometimes data structures and algorithms don't even come up in job interviews, right? There are smaller companies out there or even medium-sized companies out there who will just simply, they'll have you perform a behavioral interview and maybe able to do something like take-home homework, maybe pair programming. And so just data structures and algorithms never come up, and that's all you have to prepare for. And so it's clear that that's not required. It's not like the bar, passing the bar as a lawyer. To become a lawyer in Illinois, you have to pass the bar. That's how you can practice in court. It's not like that with programming. Now, just because I say that, it doesn't mean that you can just go ahead and ignore it, right? Like people hear me say that, like, oh, I don't have to worry about data structures and algorithms because I can get a job without knowing it. Here's the thing. You should absolutely learn it. Like there's no excuse not to, because if you're going to spend months teaching yourself to code and learning to program, learning about data structures and algorithms is going to put you in the best position possible to land a job, because at the end of the day, it's just increasing your odds. And while, yes, learning data structures and algorithms is great and it's required for working at a company like Facebook and Google, there's a lot of middle tier companies who also want to hire developers who understand core CS concepts and who can build code that scales. And so that's where data structures and algorithms come into play. Now, just to give you a sense in my own path and my own career, where it's come up or if it's not come up at all. So I learned to code 5 years ago. That's when I got my first job. Didn't come up at all. I was the type of person who had a behavioral interview. I had a take-home project. I got hired. Again, small company. They didn't really have a lot of users, a lot of active users. There was no part of our code that really had to scale, right, beyond a certain number that made sense. So there was no efficiency issues. Second company I worked for, same thing. We didn't really have to work on anything that scaled. There wasn't enough users in our system. There was not enough, I guess, processes going on that we had to scale. So it never came up. It only came up for me when I realized that I want to become the best developer I can. And I don't necessarily want to work at Facebook or Google. I don't know if that's for me, but I want to be the type of developer who I can use different types of data structures, different algorithms, different common algorithms to make more and write more efficient code if that comes up or if it's necessary. And that's where I really started learning it. Now, if you are just starting out, if you're looking to learn to code, maybe you just started a few weeks ago, or maybe been a few months into this, maybe you're going to start applying for jobs soon. Really, that's the key, is like where does it fit in for you? So here's what I basically recommend just from what I've seen and from how I help people. Data structures and algorithm knowledge, it can come at any point in your journey. I tend to think it's best to come when you have a decent foundation and skill set with programming. So you have basic problem solving skills, you understand at least one programming language very well, so that you can use them in coding interviews coding challenges. Now, once you have a strong skill set, then I think it's good to step it up and start learning something more organized, right? So for example, here, I have a book that I really recommend to keep it simple and for beginners, and it's A Common Sense Guide to Data Structures and Algorithms by Jay Wengrow. And it's a great book. Can't recommend it enough. One of the reasons I like the book is because it really simplifies things. It oversimplifies some of the common data structures and algorithm concepts, where other books are kind of dry and boring and they use a lot of math. This book takes a lot of that out of it. So once you say you're just before you're going to start applying for a job, or maybe you're towards the end of building some of your portfolio projects, start reading a book like that, and you could start just slowly incorporating it into what you do. When you really want to hit your stride in terms of working on coding challenges, like working through coding challenges that test your data structure knowledge and algorithm knowledge, that's going to come more when you're actually applying for jobs. It's almost like, the way I look at it is like training for a boxing match. You don't need to be in shape year round. You need to be in shape when the boxing match comes up. The same thing comes with practicing your knowledge and your skills with algorithms and data structures. You want to be at your peak when you're actually interviewing for jobs, so that's when you want to spend the most time doing it. Now, the other book that everybody and their mother at this point has heard about and will probably use when they're going to be applying, especially for jobs in Silicon Valley or just bigger tech companies, is the Cracking the Coding Interview book, right? By Gail Lackman McDowell. Great book, awesome book. I can't, rave about it enough. It's thick. It's a lot of pages here, and it's definitely what I would say is more somebody who has a CS background, or for somebody who just like they love the minutia of this. For somebody who's just starting out, I think it's a little bit advanced for them, and it's something you might want to wait to get into after you've read the first book, or you've gotten some more basic knowledge about data structures and algorithms. Maybe it's a good book for you, but those are basically my recommendations. Again, really focus on your skills with data structures and algorithms more when you're applying for jobs, when you actually are going to interview. That's when you can focus a lot of your time, because that's, I think, really you could spend most of your time doing that, and that could take up weeks of what you're going to be able to do. So I hope that gives you a better perspective. Again, remember, like, I'm not saying you should learn data structures and algorithms or you shouldn't. I'm just trying to give you the best perspective that I can. It's clear that you don't need to have it, but having it really, really helps. And especially if you're ambitious and you're looking to get a job at one of those big tech companies, you got to do it. Like, that's clear. There's no question about that. And just to be a good developer, you got to have it as well. So I hope this helps. I hope it gives you some perspective. By the way, if you are looking for help on your journey, if you're looking to become a self-taught programmer and say you've been struggling for months to do this, you've been, can't really figure this out, you're stuck, you're hitting a wall, I highly recommend working with me one-on-one in a mentorship coaching program that I have set up. If you're interested in that, I'd highly recommend booking a call, a career strategy session. During that call, what we're going to do is I'm really going to break down what your current issues are. I want to figure out what exactly the problem is. I want to figure out what exactly you're trying to do, what you're trying to reach in terms of your goals. And if the mentorship or coaching is a good fit, I'm happy to talk about that and break it down what that would look like for you. So I'd highly recommend booking a call. If you want to do that, go to the link in the description below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. Always appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.